So greetings and welcome to this session on the power of words, in which I am very honored to be joined by powerful, inspiring women, namely Kosha Joubert, who is the CEO of the Pocket Project, a movement dedicated to global healing. And she will introduce us to the practice of global social witnessing. We will start our session by witnessing young climate leaders from communities on the front lines of climate change. And after her, we will be hearing poetry readings from Sarah, who's from the Philippines, here with us today. She's the founding director of the Green Relief Initiative and Living Story Landscapes Project. We'll be joined by video by Sharon Gaki, who's a young climate activist from Kenya, an Arctic angel also from the campaign by Global Choices. Sharon wanted to be with us today this morning, but she had the last minute opportunity to go to Sharm el-Sheikh, so she's in the plane, and we recorded her poem yesterday as she was in the airport. The wonders of technology made that possible. And we'll also have the honor of hearing a beautiful poem written by Meera Dasgupta, who's from the United States. She's also an Arctic angel, and she was the 2020 Youth Poet Laureate from the United States. So we will be enjoying the power of words, but to savor that power even more, we will be taking moments of powerful silence. After each of these interventions, or rather sharings, these offerings, I will invite you to just stay with them a moment, to close your eyes and let those words seep in your mind, in your heart, in your whole being. Really give them the space that they deserve. We'd love to hear your words, or rather read your words. Please use the chat if there's a particular poem or quote or phrase or word in your native language or in English that you'd like to share with us. Please put it in the chat. Let's have a harvest of words from around the world as we go through this session together. And finally, before we start, I'd like us to tune in to another language, which is also very powerful, that of the earth. Now, the way I'd like to offer us to do it is through what we call in Listening Inspires a moment of mindful connection to the earth, a moment where we can connect to the nature within us, around us, as a way of inviting Mother Earth with us in this session, also as a sort of source of comfort. I'll be using a card in doing so. I was hoping that this is also something you might want to use again at a later stage. So let me share my desktop and post this card. Okay. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes for a moment. And you might be sitting or standing maybe. Feel the presence of the earth under your feet. Take a moment to breathe in deeply. Really breathe in with your full concentration, very mindful breathing. As you breathe in, draw the power and stability of mountains into your feet and legs. Breathe in. Feel the spaciousness of air in the forests of your lungs. Breathe in. Sense the liveliness of the soil, of your organs and tissues. Breathe in. Let yourself be tickled by the vibrant biodiversity of your microbiome. Breathe in. Feel the flow of life in the rivers of your arteries, veins, and lymph. Breathe in. Connect to the sunshine of wisdom in your mind's eye. Open your heart to the ocean of love that heals and regenerates. Take one last deep breath, feeling the nature within and around and with us. And with this beautiful presence among us, I would like to invite Kusha to take us on a little world tour of powerful words and faces.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Charlotte. And yeah, I want to thank all of you who are behind this powerful movement of bringing 50% women into the forefront of leadership also around climate change, but really it's a leadership around expressing our love for the world, our love for each other, our love for communities. So thank you to all of you for being here. Yeah, and as we just heard, women are often at the front lines of protecting life in communities around the world. And actually, before I stepped into leadership in the Pocket Project, I was leading the Global Ecovillage Network, a global network of over 6,000 communities on all continents dedicated to regenerating life, regenerating ecosystems. And while doing the work with each other, the real question that became stronger and stronger for me, also while attending decades of UN COP climate change conferences, why is it that our agreements, our intentions, our knowledge doesn't translate into real change? And starting to look more and more deeply, what lies at the heart of the sand in the systems that disrupts the implementations of our love, our best intention, and the climate agreements that we forge. Yeah, and that is really what allowed my intentions, our knowledge, to shift to the theme of the pain of the past, the pain of separation, the collective trauma that is inhibiting our seeing each other, and being able to express fully. And the practice that I would like to share with you today, global social witnessing, is a practice that invites us to come home to our own bodies, to our own hearts. We will work with the power of words of young women climate leaders from communities around the planets, really simplifying those words into just one image of a woman, one phrase. And the invitation to you is to settle deeply and watch not your, or maybe how your mind tends to respond quickly. And from that, take your attention into your body and your heart and watch the response of your body, the embodied response that we have to the information that lies within the words. So move from the surface of the words to the information that comes through the words and allow it to inform our bodies. And I believe that is also the space of interbeing with the earth, with each other, with all living systems that Charlotte has just invited. So I will also share my screen. Just give me one moment. And here we go. Yeah, so just take a moment to allow this beautiful photograph, also of a climate leader, Camille Seaman, photographer, who's on her way to the Arctic region now to portray the beauty and the terror of our changing poles. Daria Yemets from Ukraine, who shares her pain that environmental work has collapsed in Ukraine in the face of the war. And the village that she grew up in as a child, the woods that she used to pick mushrooms in, are now inhabited by a mass grave. Just take a moment to allow that to land. And maybe also notice the edges where it's hard sometimes to watch environmental work collapse in the face of wars. Sarah, who will be bringing a poem to us in a moment, having worked in the Philippines, having witnessed seasons of typhoons being followed by seasons of typhoons, being followed by seasons of typhoons, trying to work with the concepts of climate ambition, resilience, and watching the community struggle to get back up on their feet after each new cycle of destruction. Yeah, and maybe you notice how it stretches your heart to make space for this. To stay related. Sunita Mba from Cameroon, young climate leader who built regenerative communities, who supported young people to reconnect to nature, to become climate aware, to restore forests, soils, regenerative agriculture. And then watching the complete and utter destruction of all of these projects as the civil war swept the Anglophone part of Cameroon, and who's continuing to have to live far away from her country to stay safe. Catherine Polko-Enders from California, watching over the years how fires and drought are ravaging the sacred lands, threatening communities, burning down some of the largest trees, the oldest trees on earth. And finally, a glimpse of hope. Margarita Tzatelius, working with communities across Colombia and Latin America. And Colombia being a place where after 58 years of civil war, there's a reprieve. And finally, a Ministry of Environment that is embracing positive change, regenerative approaches, supporting young climate leaders to come forward. And just the deep breath of possibility that a whole country is taking at the moment. The hope that this may lead to more support for protection, for climate action. And lastly, Linda Cabera from Zimbabwe, who has been working for decades teaching young people in schools, young mothers, how to grow their own food in schoolyards, in scraps of land, in the townships, in communities around Zimbabwe, and is watching how the increasing irregularity of rainfalls, the floods, the drought, is making it harder and harder to keep going. And as we welcome these voices from Europe, from Asia, from Africa, from Latin America, from North America, allow these women to take place in our hearts as speakers for communities, for landscapes, for cultures. Yeah, I want to invite us to open our hearts to the interbeing that lies between us as we feel the earth, as we feel each other, and each of us finds our way in the complexity of climate action, expressing our love and our care as women wholeheartedly, whole-handedly, whole-mindedly at this time. Yeah, and also this young woman will be offering deeper insights into their work, and we'll be offering a whole framework event that you can visit, and I'll put a link and an email in the chat for you to reach out to if you want to know more. And with that, I would love to hand over to you, Sarah, to lead us deeper as we maybe really stay with this embodied presence, to share your poem with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, Kosha. And thank you, everyone, for the meaningful invitation to share a poem. And it's a poem that could inspire women here, especially mothers, or those who mother the world in many ways. And I think I've asked to share a photo while I'm sharing. It's an image of a baby in a basin that we often see here in the Philippines during every typhoons that we experience. And I don't know if you will be sharing the screen while I read, or someone is gonna. Okay. Thank you so much. I'll first read it in Tagalog, and which also means Taga-ilog of the river, which is our language, national language in the Philippines. Narinig ko na ang ilang mga sanggol ay pinangangalanan sa mga bagyo na kanilang naligtasan. Sendong, Yolanda, Pablo, Nina, Lawin, Ompong, Ulysses, Rolly, Odette, Agaton, Carding, Paeng. Sa mga pangalang ito ng mga bagyong nakatulong ako, may mga kwento ng mga sanggol na natagpuang lumulutang sa isang palanggana. Baka dahil sila'y natagpuang buhay pagkatapos ng kaguluhan, pagkatapos ng nagaslas ng tubig sa ibaba ng bilog na bangka. Ang pagbuhos ng ulan sa itaas, ang palanggana na tumatanggap sa ilalim, ay isang binyag ng tubig sa palibot. Parang nasa sinapupunan tulad ng paghina ng mga alon, nagligtas sa kanila sa gitna ng tunog ng mga hiyawan at helikopterong tagapagligtas. Maraming mga mito ng paglikha ang nagsisimula sa tubig at malalaking baha. Ang iba ay tungkol sa pagbabago. Marahil ang sanggol sa palanggana ay ang bagong kwento ng paglikha. Lumulutang sa parehong ilog ni Moises at dinala pababa sa Nile, ligtas sa takuyang ng tambo upang matupad ang isang pangako ng pag-asa. In English, I heard some babies were named after the typhoons they survived in. Sendong, Yolanda, Pablo, Nina, Lawin, Ompong, Ulysses, Rolly, Odette, Agaton, Carding, Paeng. Somewhere across these names of typhoons I've assisted in, there are stories of babies found floating in a basin. It must be because there is a meaning to be found, alive after the chaos, after the rush of water below the circle boat, the rain pouring above, the basin receiving below, a baptism with water, water all around it, like a womb. As the lull of the waves saved them amidst the sounds of screams and rescue choppers. Many creation myths begin with water and great floods. Some are about renewal. Perhaps the baby in the basin is our new creation story, floating on the same river as Moses as he was carried down the Nile, safe in a reed basket to fulfill a promise of hope. And I end with that poem inspiring you, people in Egypt, with the Nile River and the story of Moses and the baby in the basket, with gratitude and hopefully hope from us in the Philippines after we've just experienced another round of typhoons, and we will continue facing them as the more COPs happen. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you, Kosha. And yes, I invite you, like Kosha did, to really breathe in and take it all in, even if it might be painful, if it might be moving. It is also healing, the power of words to witness, the power of words to heal, the power of words to generate. I'd now like to share with you another beautiful poem. And thank you to those of you who are sharing them in the chat. Please continue. We're continuing a beautiful harvest. This next poem is by Sharon Gaki. It is in Swahili, so I will put the video of her reciting her poem in Swahili together with the text in English. And I hope the sound will work well. So bear with me as I just do a little text setup, but we should be rolling very soon. I just put up her poem. Oh, sorry, this is not ideal, I know. Thank you for bearing with me.
Change on women. So my poem is about impacts of climate change on women. Sauti yake inaita kutoka vilindi vya dunia. Sauti yake inaita kutoka kwa kuamka kwa upepo wa asubuhi. Sauti yake inaita kutoka kwa kijani kibichi hadi majano ya majani ya uvuli. Sauti yake inaita kutoka milimani na kuyeyuka kwa mizinga ya barafu. Sauti yake inaita kutoka kwa maisha ya bahari kuu hadi bahari ya buluu. Sauti yake inaita. Unaona yuko kimya, yuko macho, lakini halali. Hana moyo wa kibinadamu. Anasikiliza lakini hana hubutu. Anakuwezesha kufanya uchaguzi, lakini hata kuruhusu kuchagua matokeo. Yeye ni asili ya mama. Hata piga kelele, hata lalamika, lakini atachukua hatua. Mikono yake imenyoshwa, anatoa bure. Wangari Maathai alijua vyema zaidi. Asili ya mama yetu ni mkarimu, lakini hana msamaha. Hangali hewa zetu zimejaa gesi zenye sumu. Mazingira yetu yaliyoharibika yanaleta matatizo ya kifua kwa watoto wetu. Maji yangu machafu yamepoteza nafasi yake. Watu wangu hawawezi kuogelea, hawawezi kuvua samaki au kuyanywa. Sasa ninajua kiwango kamili cha mvua, mafuriko na moto wa misitu. Watu wangu wanakufa kwa njaa na bei kubwa ya chakula. Ninahofia wanawake wangu huko Turkana. Mifugo yao hufa kila siku. Maisha yao yaligeukia jua chini. Wanakabiliwa na viwango vya juu vya ukosefu wa usalama na umbali mrefu kutafuta maji. Ni uharibifu kiasi gani hadi tuseme inatosha? Mateso kiasi gani mpaka tuseme inatosha? Hasara kiasi gani mpaka tuseme inatosha? Lini tutaweka mguu chini na kusema imetosha? Mazingira yangu ni muhimu. My environment, it's better when it's taken care of. I am taking the action of protecting my environment. Thank you.
Letting the words of Sharon seep in. I also invite in this space her enthusiasm as she was boarding the plane yesterday in Nairobi. So happy to be representing her peoples in Sharm el-Sheikh. She must be landing as I speak, so let us wish her a beautiful stay and a promising, exciting, generative moment. And our last poetry reading is a short but powerful poem by Meera Dasgupta. It will bring us close to our conclusion. And I will, of course, I'll just say a few words. I have a little suggestions for a way of closing the session, something that you might do to also draw on the power of words. But for now, let's hear Meera. So let me share my screen one last time, sharing sound. And here we go. Enjoy.
When you enter a forest, there is no absence of sound. You may hear a bird whittling strange songs on the boughs of blooming trees, the whisper of zephyrs passing by, the crunch of browning leaves. So when you speak, you are adding to the histories of ecosystems resisting storms and corporate greed. You are leaving parts of you behind in this intergenerational, intersectional legacy where women have led and left footprints on this edifice in our collective memories. Mother Earth harnessing past melodies into movements amongst the climate changing, catastrophe raging, individuals disproportionately facing the consequences of countries exploiting the land for far more than we would ever need. Still, as the mic usurps the sword, and a pen draws roses amidst the weeds, with the power of words, we too may challenge our greatest enemies, our worldly foe, this increased rate of warming, which will surely leave with the meaningful engagement of communities into solutions. For there is a beauty and how special each narrative could be if we just listen to and find our common ground, this unified humanity.
This unified humanity. Thank you all. I see we've just gone past the hour. We'll make sure to share those texts with you, maybe on the She Changes Climate website or somewhere, but so beautiful. And as we close, I'd like to invite you to maybe, not just now or when you want, to create an affirmation for yourself. Words have power. They generate grooves in our minds. It can be something like, I am creative and I am strong, or I heal and I regenerate. Something that you feel can drive you, can nourish you as you go through these challenging days ahead in the COPs and beyond, in all aspects of our lives. And I'm sure you are already, but can continue to grow in being a source of inspiration for many women and men, children, youth of all ages, all countries. Thank you for the quality of your listening. Thank you for your presence, and wishing you beautiful continued exchanges in this space. Have a beautiful day. Thank you, Kosha. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Mimansha, and all the She Changes Climate team. Have a beautiful day.